right, peace to the family. I know it's been a minute, man. I gotta refamiliarize myself with the actual the banners and everything. I know they got a couple of new features. They got like 4 new features on this thing where we could have the banners pop up during the show and all this stuff here. So I'm trying to figure this out, but let's go ahead and rock it. All right, my name is Brandon B. Dixon. Oh, these banners even bigger, man. Brandon B. Dixon, NMLS 1541210. They making upgrades. At Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media. Go to the YouTube at Billionaire Loan Officer. My website, www.applywithb.com. You call me 832-775-8357. You call me 24/7. Also, www.brandonbdixon.com. If you want to go ahead and book me for the lease, sell, fix and flip. Even though fix and flip is getting harder to come by nowadays. With the market the way it is. And then last but not least, COCinvestmentclub.com. If you want to get in on this fix and flip game, buy and hold. Everybody buying and holding right now. The fix and flip kind of messed up right now. But all right, Corey, I got you teed up.
Yes, sir. Corey Smith, broker owner of Commodore Mortgage. You know how to get in contact with us. Check us out on the website, www.commodoremortgage.com.
Gotcha. Yep, man. Like I said, dealing with these kids, man. This Gen Z, man. I didn't let the grays all the way rock, man. I'm gonna just go and rock the silver, man. Silver bell.
You know what I'm saying? Silver fox, man. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Look, somebody got to be the Black Santa Claus.
Right. Now go ahead. It is what it is, man. Like I said, I like it. I mean, it ain't bad as I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? Different color.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's good to switch it up every now and again. Probably a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? Even Didi had to rebrand every now and again.
I think he all great too. Yeah.
Huh?
I think he all great too.
Yeah. Because you know what I'm saying? This whole court case got him stressed out. Which is, you know what I'm saying, understandable.
Gotcha. Let's go ahead because I probably have a month's worth just lined up, man. I just
because it's been that long, if not longer. Since we've been on.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch lined up, man. Let's go ahead rock it. And then let's go ahead start from scratch, man. Like see how far we could get before the time run out. Let's see. I know a particular order because I done forgot the order. So this is all rando. This rando kind of
run it. Yep.
It's been so long. I done forgot all the order and everything, man.
Yeah, run it. We'll make it work.
Yeah, so we just keep it going and then we ride from there. All right, so let's run it. Bell.
So like I told you guys, since I made that post, I've had people reach out to me left and right. And this is one of my good buddies. He helped me with my new build project, and he works with all of the major builders in the city of Houston. If you build in the city limits of Houston, there is a 90% chance you work with him and his company. He's an attorney as well. But I just want to share this information, and this is coming from him, somebody who's in the field just as much as I am. So as you guys can see, he's just a good post, bro. I'm seeing it as well. And, I'm just like, what are you seeing? Because I want to hear it from his point of view. And let me show you guys what he said. He said there's a major slowdown from the city because obviously the city just changed a bunch of ordinances and codes just for certain ways you can build and things like that. And then also people just haven't changed their building strategy. Now for me as a new builder, I didn't really have a strategy other than buy the property super cheap, subdivide it, build up, and that's exactly what we did. Now luckily the numbers are deep enough that it still makes sense, but our new build projects are sitting, but I'm not alone. As you can see right here, most builders now, they have product they can't sell and they have a lot of cash tied up in the dirt for new projects. Number 3, people thought that they could just pivot to duplexes because that's the new play, right? It's more affordable, but now there is an oversupply of duplexes. I literally just saw somebody post earlier today. They listed 10 duplexes from a builder. Think about that. But there's more text messages. Let's take a look. This was just a voice memo of me telling him like, hey, I appreciate your opinion. And, it's good to hear from him because I trust what he's actually saying. But let's keep it going. He's like, the builders show good and never the bad. A lot of people were hoping that the summer, right? It's the summertime and we are in one of the slowest real estate markets. It's insane. And this is his advice, right? remove your ego, sell what you can for what you can get. He's like, some will listen, but most will go down with their inventory. And everybody is strapped for cash, right? Because they have these projects and they're all tied up with money. And I know, I mean, like our project, guys, is $1 million 4 townhome build project, right? It took me multiple years. I just had terrible timing with the market, but it is what it is. But my point being, like, there are builders that are struggling just as much as home flippers. So don't let them, trick you out here and think that they're not having it bad too. Everybody is suffering. So like I told you guys, since I made that post, I've had people reach out to me left and right. And this is one of my good buddies.
All right, so let's kick it off, man.
It's the market that we in. It's cyclical. You know what I'm saying? I do know with any time, you know what I'm saying, that you have new administration that comes in, they're coming in with their own agenda. And I think with the new administration that we had come in, with the new mayor and all, his new agenda is to clean up a whole bunch of stuff that was either done wrong or things that was let slide for the previous administration. So I think a lot of stuff has been placed on hold. A lot of stuff has been made a lot more difficult just because, you know what I'm saying, they're trying to clean up things over at the city. What I was told by one of the builders that I helped finance is that the city is no longer allowing, and I forget the term that he used, but the city is no longer, they used to buy 5,000 square foot lots and try to throw duplexes on them, try to subdivide and throw duplexes on them. But what the city is doing now, you know what I'm saying, they're starting to tighten the ropes on being able to do that. It was something he called overcrowding a lot or something like that. So anytime anything like that starts to happen, you have to be leery and kind of hold your horses until the dust settles. And then try to make moves from there. But I don't believe, you know what I'm saying, I don't necessarily think he's capping. I think, you know what I'm saying, builders are definitely hurting. There's an inventory there, and you can see it every time that we get these flyers in about all these incentives that these builders are offering. They wasn't offering that around COVID. They wasn't offering all these low interest rates. They wasn't offering all these incentives and all this other stuff back during COVID time when they was getting people buying property hand over fist. But I think now that everybody is struggling, you know what I'm saying, now is still the best time to get in because now is when you're going to get the better deal.
Right. I don't know if everybody can afford the better deal. That's what I'm saying. Only you got to pay to play. I don't know if everybody got money on the consumer side to play.
Down payment assistance program still available, still out there.
Well, and beyond that is just affordability. You know, it's just everything went high, and then the floor is high. So, and then the wages never went up. We talked about this before. So, at 7%, they just can't afford it. Like, you know, the people that's going to buy in that particular buy in that particular market, they can't afford it. They window shopping, but it's not obtainable for them. I seen something early. I'm gonna look for it here shortly, but they had a great strategy. It's called what they said, the Mexican mortgage strategy. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
The Mexican mortgage strategy. There's a dude on a viral clip. I don't know if it's quite viral yet, but it's on Facebook everywhere. Okay. Talking about how they got together, like five Mexican families get together, or 5 people get together, and they do the tenants in common. Yep. Everybody pay their mortgage like they go, like if it's $1,000 a month, everybody pay that $5,000 a month. I mean, everybody pay that $1,000 a month. And Correct. They get done paying the mortgage in 5 years. Then after that, they do another house. They split up. All right, now it's 2 in one house, 3 in another house. Then they pay everything for 5 years. Then then they go from there. So about 15 years later, you still paying halfway done your house. You refinance 3-4 times. They're on their 3rd house. You know, the 3rd or 4th house. You know, so by the time 20 years roll around, everybody got their House, and it's paid for.
I believe it.
You know what I'm saying? You know, just about paying them normal mortgages if they would, but they share the space.
It's the smart way to do it.
So
and all the money get along enough, good enough. Yeah, if you can get along good enough to do it.
The problem is the money a lot of money that we spend getting chewed by interest. So the dollar is not lasting long. So they saving all that interest money, and they taking it that money's going to a different property. And so in the long run, there's a difference between price and cost. So the price, you know, is one thing that's right now, but cost overall of ownership is a lot cheaper on their side. Because the ego, they took the ego out. You know what I mean? So it's called the Mexican mortgage strategy or something like that. But it makes a lot of sense. But I'm tying that to this because I think for these type of times, I think a lot of people need to drop the ego and do what they got to do. But everybody want their own spot. They want to look fly, and I think it's now the time for collaboration. You know,
too many egos involved. Yeah, entirely too many egos involved.
Right. So too many people want to crap on the next man, and they don't want to. They can't get 5 partners together to do something like that.
Here's the thing. You know what I'm saying is that you hear people say a lot of, I could never live with that person.
Right.
I could never stay with that person. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just absolutely no way. And then when you both are in a situation where you're trying to share a common goal, even though it's the smart financial decision, people are willing to go against it just because of their ego. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people miss out on a financial blessing just because of egos. But, they call it the #1 human killer.
Right. And it's the back for it as far as the builders, man. Like I said, a lot of builders, it's good to get that cleanse going on because a lot of people, these intramural builders, these hopped in and borrowed all that money, and now they strapped for cash. So this was an easy game. So now, which I like the small builders anyway, because I eventually won't get to that point. But
correct,
they probably bit off more than they could chew. But shit, let's keep it pumping. Let's keep it pumping because I got a lot of left clips. You know what I mean? So
let's get it.
Everybody ran to Texas like it was the promised land. Now that promise is breaking. There was a huge flood of people moving out to Texas as if it was the golden goose of real estate. Low taxes, big space, booming cities. People thought that they were escaping chaos. What they didn't realize is that they were running straight into another bubble. From 2020 to 2022, median prices in Austin, Texas jumped over 40%. People were paying $100,000, even $150,000 over asking, sight unseen. Why? Because out-of-state investors thinking Texas is hot and they had plenty of cash figured that Texas was cheap. But now, those same buyers are upside down. Let's talk real numbers. Austin, Texas is down 13% from its median home prices from its peak in 2022. Dallas-Fort Worth inventory is up over 50% year over year. San Antonio builders are slashing prices and offering over 5 figures in incentives just to get buyers in the door. Foreclosures across Texas is up 37% year over year. You thought the market would stabilize. Texas is seeing price fatigue. Insurance hikes, property taxes rising, and wages not keeping up. People overpaid with no equity cushion, and now reality is hitting. And here's the worst part. Some of y'all bought thinking, this is Texas. Properties here always appreciate. But appreciation only works when demand outpaces supply. Right now, builders are still building, but buyers are slowing down. Texas isn't crashing yet, but it's correcting fast. And if you bought in 2021 and 2022 at the top, you might already be in the red. Don't let hype make your decisions. Do the math, buy with a plan. Because in this market, what you overpaid for today will be somebody else's foreclosure deal tomorrow. Everybody.
All right, what you got? What you got?
Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? He ain't never lying. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But the only thing is that, you know what I'm saying, he's kind of nitpicking on Texas. But the problem is
that I got one for ATL too. I got one coming for ATL. He ain't just picking on Texas.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is down now. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's at the prices and at the level that they was back during COVID. You know what I'm saying? And then if Texas or even Austin for that matter is 13%, what is LA? What is, you know what I'm saying? What is Miami? What is Orlando? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are some of these other cities? So everybody is flocking to Texas, but I don't think everybody understands the property taxes are a lot higher here than anywhere else. So, you know what I'm saying? It kind of somewhat evens itself out because, you know what I'm saying, everybody rushed to Texas as if it was the gold rush. The same way everybody's rushing to Houston now, as if it's the next gold rush. But I definitely think it's a learning lesson. I definitely don't think it's a bad decision that you bought in Texas. I don't care, you know what I'm saying, where you come from, LA, you know what I'm saying? You bought in Austin, you bought in Houston, you bought in Dallas. I don't think it's a bad idea that you bought in Texas. But you know what I'm saying, a lot of facts that he's saying is true, but I just think, you know what I'm saying, he kind of shitted on Texas unnecessarily.
Well, I got one. He's about to go in on ATL next, so he ain't isolate Texas. He just, I guess it's going, market by market. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at him. We all ate off of that 21-22, and that boys was overpaying, and sight unseen, and it was crazy in 21. And we ate, but now we seeing the belt tightening. This is the slowest summer I've ever had in the business. Like it ain't. The phone usually ringing nonstop, but I ain't had a ring in a couple of days, so it's like it's super duper slow. I got a couple of nibbles I'm about to do, but it's small stuff, nothing major. But usually, June, July is when it flow.
Correct.
June, July,
August.
Yeah, June,
School
July.
is out, people are moving.
Right. So now it ain't popping like it usually pop. This year, like everything at a standstill right now. I'm not.
Yeah.
I guess I understand why this Powell playing. Playing that chicken with the price, the risk. The rate should have been dropped. But it is what it is. Plus, everybody did overpay 2-3 years ago, and then we didn't get that refi. We've been anticipating this refi. Mini refi boom for the last year and a half. Never happened. So this never happened. So, and everybody was yelling back in 2024, stay alive to 2025. 2025 actually was more of the same. So if not worse. So the good thing is the industry is cleaning. So they said they had 900 just at the beginning of the year, 900 loan officers drop out.
Oh, that's tough. Hey, look, if it's 900 loan officers, how many real estate agents dropped off?
Yeah,
that's the question.
A lot of them dropping off, so the cliff, which is a good thing. I mean, cleanse, get the real ones in, get the fake out. So, but I would say, yeah, I definitely agree with most of what he's saying. I mean, but it is nationwide as well. Let me hit this next one. He's going in on ATL next. I mean, while we're keeping on his theme, So, but I am licensed in Georgia as well, so that's why I clipped these two.
If you're heading to Atlanta, thinking you're about to run it up on real estate, you might be about 3 years too late. Let's have a real conversation about what's going on in Atlanta right now, because some of y'all still moving out here like it's 2019. Back then, Atlanta was wide open. South Fulton, East Point, Decatur, you could snatch a house for $80,000, put $50,000 into it, and still walk away with over $100,000 in equity. But let's fast forward to what's going on right now. That wave is gone. Investors overpaid and over-leveraged during the 2021 and 2022 run-up. Inventory has jumped over 25% in some zip codes. Median sale prices in some investor-heavy neighborhoods have dropped 8 to 10% year over year. And that's with holding costs and slow demands. Contractors are overbooked and labor ain't cheap no more. And let's not forget, zoning has become much tighter and property taxes are still climbing. Appraisers are pulling comps with a magnifying glass. Meanwhile, wholesalers are still pushing trash deals in the same 12 zip codes. And new investors are still buying off of potential and not actual performance. The new Atlanta play is not fast money, it's long-term discipline. It's understanding the price to rent ratio, knowing which submarkets are still appreciating and which ones are actually correcting themselves. So if you really want to win in Atlanta right now, you need boots on the ground. You need a contractor that you can trust, and you better stop chasing the hype and start studying the data. Because what worked in 2020 will not give you the same results in 2025.
What you think, man? So he ain't just isolate Texas, man. He's gonna,
Yeah, he on it. You know what I'm saying? He's giving people forewarning for sure. I like the information that he's putting out there. You know what I'm saying? I like the way that he's delivering it. Shit, ain't nothing really I can say about it. I think, you know what I'm saying, everything that he's spitting, he rapping, not capping. You know what I'm saying? He's spitting nothing but facts.
Right. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree on that. Like I said, that's the thing. People think it's cookie cutter, and everything is ever changing. You got to be smart enough and aware enough to pivot. A lot of people be stuck in this think everything is repetition. Not with this market. Market's ever changing. There's patterns, but it doesn't necessarily mean that pattern that worked 4 or 5 years ago is gonna work right now.
Yep.
And so that's how a lot of people lose their money. That's another thing. And I definitely agree because I started to start making some moves in Atlanta. But like you said, you gotta have the boots on the ground. If you ain't, it's so tough nowadays with these contractors. If you ain't watching them, it's hard to be an out-of-state investor. You know, you're gonna have to sit there and watch the whole thing be built. You might as well build it yourself because people are so lazy, the contractors are so lazy to get over all this. I mean, you better watch them.
Yeah.
You know, or have somebody to watch them. You know, and then labor's not cheap no more. Like you said, that I'm going through that now. That labor's not cheap no more. It's like you
know.
Yeah, so you pay somebody and ain't do a damn thing. Like, man, what you did, you know. So that's what part of the problem is. No more pride and workmanship. Like that's why people used to get them, you know, people that had no socials and I-10s because they used to have pride in their work. That's gone.
That's out of there.
Yeah, that's out of there. Everybody want that $1.09, and they'll give a damn. They'll loaf on the job. You know, if you ain't watching them, they'll sit there and eat a sandwich and a Michelob Light.
Yep.
You know, it ain't like that.
On the clock. On the clock. Yep.
You know, but they used to back in the day. This is not that long ago, 10, 15 years ago, man. Like, man, have pride in it. Look how well I did this, boss. That's gone, nigga. That's
out of there. Look, them days is long gone.
Yeah, you better watch them nowadays. Like they're trying to. I don't know, man. It's different. It's different. Yeah. It's getting spooky out there. Come on. That's what's making it hard. Let's go to the next one.
Let's do it.
You know. So I got quite a few. So we definitely ain't gonna make all of them. We just run it.
Folks are ahead of me thinking I'm tripping or something. So I come up in here. Okay, let me turn the light on. I don't see no light switch here. I don't see no light switch here. I said, maybe they're weird. If they put it on the outside, there's no light switch there. And I was like, okay, even weirder. Could it be in the closet? No, there ain't no light switch there. I'm like, how the frick do you turn on the light up in here? And then, my boy, it ain't no light in here. And then it's hot in here because there ain't no supply register there supplying no air. So whenever you use the bathroom in here, it's gonna be hot, funky, and dark. This is left exposed. Damages at the garage floor. Unsealed. Not retracting. See this? And see this. Missing window screen. This looks like water damage. This whole door frame is out of square. You can see as it transitions up. It's been set at 65 degrees since I got here, and it's 85 degrees in this house. This is unsealed, and this is unsealed. Dishwasher is leaking. Gaps at the flooring. Man, these folks are had me thinking I'm tripping or something. So I come up in here, okay, let me turn the light on. I don't see no light.
And then this is the add to the both of these things like I was just talking about. There ain't no pride in the job no more. They throwing these things up. They don't give a damn. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're looking for. That money spent, man.
Yeah, but the problem is, especially when you talk about, now, here's the thing, when it comes to new builds. When it comes to new builds, they don't nearly, they got superintendents that don't nearly keep watch over the workers the way that they're supposed to. They just riding the clock. They just trying to only if you bring an issue up are they actually fixing anything. But outside of that, they letting a whole bunch of that small stuff go. And I had a couple of, of new construction clientele, that came through and recommending inspection. because you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily, you come in, your eye is a little bit different than an inspector's eye.
Right.
So even though it's a new construction, you know what I'm saying, you want to make sure that you got everything tightened up because you don't want to have a problem later on, because there's a warranty there. But you know what I'm saying, if you try to get back with the builder, not all builders respond the way they're supposed to these warranty claims.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying, but they choose to go against it. And this here looked like a new build. It looked like a new build, you know what I'm saying, that they had a whole bunch of issues and everything with. And because, you know what I'm saying, they got the inspection done, now that they can have the builders come in and correct those small things and then do those things right so that you don't have problems later on down the road. But for those people that get, you know, kind of hypnotized by the old flashy and nice and everything's brand new and all this other stuff. But yeah, what about the small details that's going to cause a problem later on and down the line? And the builders don't care. They just want to try to get that thing sold as quickly as possible and move on down to the next one.
Right. Well, ain't no safety, ain't no quality assurance checks no more. Everybody's trying to get paid. Nobody, there's no pride. That's what's gonna cause the debt of the society. If nobody has any pride anymore, everybody just want to get paid. Everything collapse. Where's the pride in the job? Where's the try to outdo yourself? That's all gone. Like, I think, it used to be, we talked about this on the last show before. Like, people think just because you got a big stick builder that there's some kind of boot camp that you go to or 6-week course to be a builder. Nah, they use the same Home Depot workers as you could. And they're unskilled labor. They might have an electrician come in and electrician do this, but the rest of them are going to be subcontractors.
Mm-hmm.
And subcontractors is unskilled labor. It's just Jose saying, yeah, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. Do they really? Who's checking on that? Ain't no regulations. And these the same people that you putting up your house. So once those walls, the inspector only can see what's on the exterior. What about when they close up that wall? So these houses ain't built like that. Yeah, they're not built like they used to be. Like, just like cars ain't built. That's why they're doing them with robots now. At least the robots have like a certain quality, they're gonna do every time. It's like you have to get to that point because humans have got so lazy.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So let's go. I remember this next clip. This is the flip side of the coin. Let's go, on this is the opposite. Let's see what happens. See what you'll do in this situation.
All right.
I ain't got this problem.
No, you don't.
I do understand.
This was a lot of work. We put weeks into this. Thousands of dollars into this.
I do understand. Sir, please stop. Please stop.
Is somebody gonna pay me?
Sir, I'm just asking you to stop. It's not your house to destroy.
It is my property. This is my property.
Ours.
I have receipts for everything.
Yes, ma'am.
I do understand that you're
Fucking dog.
That's sad. Damn good work. Open a lot of doors. Really smashed it down.
So I need to ask you a question because Leanne is telling me that you walked in the house and you're telling me that you were invited.
We came in here to take back our stuff and she said okay.
That's not taking back your stuff.
It is our stuff. This is how we need to take it back because we solidly built the construction. Unfortunately, so it just fall off.
I'm more than happy to deal with the police. More than happy. More than happy.
That boy out of breath. Ain't been in the gym in a minute. Look, that thing is whooping his ass.
That sledgehammer ain't no joke, man.
Hey, look, yeah.
No contractor in the state of Colorado will fix that when they found out I took it back because you refused to pay me. No one.
I get it.
No, you don't.
I do understand.
What you do, man? We the opposite out here. I'm trying to pay somebody to do some jobs, man. Come on. Yeah, I got.
Hey, look, I done did a hell of a job for you, you know what I'm saying? And then you don't want to pay me? Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, look, you ain't finna just walk away scot-free. I'm finna tear that shit up. I have no problem. But here's the thing, though, you know what I'm saying? He could probably get away with that, you know what I'm saying, versus I can't. Now, I probably want to do it. But you know what I'm saying? Look, hey, I can't do my family no good in jail.
Right.
Hey, look, he did that shit and walked out the door scot-free.
No police was called. You get your
No police was called. No police was called. But you know what I'm saying? You know, but at the end of the day, if the police was called, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna tell you, man, it's a civil matter.
Right.
It's nothing that we can do. It's a civil matter, right? Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, you didn't pay them for services that was rendered. So everybody's in the wrong. Y'all take this shit to court if you want to.
Right.
But we out there.
Sit there and destroy it. So, even though it's his property, he put he put his money into it, you know, but it is what it is. But how did he get that far without no bread? Like, you know, these people nowadays want bread and they scoop a shovel, $1. Scoop, you know, they want damn near even exchange. Like, come on, how you get that far without no money?
We missing the story. Hey, look, it could have been $500 left on the project.
Okay, I got it.
He got paid, you know what I'm saying, but he didn't get that final payment. You know what I'm saying? So okay, I forgot something. I need to come tighten up something real quick. And you come there with a sledgehammer. Next thing you know, you hear a bunch of hitting on the wall, and she come up there with the video camera and he tearing that shit up.
Right.
No, that's hilarious.
Right.
Only in Colorado. He probably was high as a kite when he did it too.
Right. I mean, hey, he got away with it, man. Like I said, could have been us. You know,
different rules.
Yeah, let's go and run to the next one.
Trend the past 5 years. The cost to rent rising in Metro Atlanta.
Oh, well, rent costs are definitely up.
I knew I was going to pay more in rent here in the old Fourth Ward.
We're all nurses, so we make a pretty decent living. It's too expensive. If you're not making 6 figures a year, it's pretty hard to find a place.
A recent construction boom also created thousands of new apartment units in the metro and more competition, forcing many communities to offer big incentives like months of free rent to get tenants in the door. But this year, those concessions may be harder to come by and rent could rise even higher.
There's not as much building that's going to occur in 2025. All of that excess inventory is going to get absorbed. And what we're about to see likely is that rents will start ticking up a little bit, and those concessions that were so great will start coming down.
The cost to rent a one-bedroom in Metro Atlanta right now averages nearly $1,600, a slight increase from just 6 months ago.
Atlanta's really growing, and there's no stopping it. And then all of those people will need apartments to live in.
Oleg Konstantinovsky runs ProMove. The company connects apartment communities with tenants. With Atlanta's population projected to continue increasing, he says long-term, higher demand for rentals will continue to contribute to higher prices. While renting a one-bedroom in Buckhead, for example, could easily run you $1,700, two of the hottest metro areas where you can find lower prices are in Sandy Springs, for example, where the median rent is right now just over $1,400, or in the Cumberland area near Smyrna, where it's about $1,350, which is down about $40 from this time a year ago. But overall, the expert we spoke to said, look, if you've been waiting for prices to drop, that likely won't happen this year. So take advantage of incentives while they last. I'm Jonathan. It's been a trend.
I know that's not our market, but that's one of my markets. So, I mean, that used to be a whole house a couple of years ago. That's $1,700 for one bed. Damn.
Said more than a couple of years ago, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
it used to be about 5, 6.
Man, I think, I mean, but bare minimum, I would say, you know what I'm saying, rent and everything else got astronomical after COVID. So COVID was 2020, 2021.
But you
so
could
we
get
at least 4 years.
House, $215,000 house in 19, and that was a decent area in Houston. And you'll know to be about it's about $1,650.
Oh Oh yeah, because I'm saying when COVID didn't necessarily real fully hit, you know what I'm saying, it became a frenzy. It started off in 2019, but it really didn't hit where the market started feeling it until the first quarter of 2020. So then I think around that second quarter, around summertime, is when it actually really took off, and it was crazy after that. But even still, you know what I'm saying, I just think everything now. I mean, you know what I'm saying, even if you talk about just going to the grocery store, everything now is a lot more expensive.
Right.
So you can't just really just talk about rent. I mean, just the cost of living across the board. And I don't give a damn where you at. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was just a clip from Atlanta. But shit, you could be in, goddamn, Iowa somewhere, you know what I'm saying? It can still be the same issue.
I heard in North Carolina, they got these 875s coming back in the market. 875 rent coming back in the market.
In some of these markets, though, they got these tiny house communities that's coming up.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? When you talk about those small rents, I'm wondering if that's related to, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these small house markets, these tiny house markets.
Gotcha. All right, let's run to the next one because again, we can keep it rolling. Trying to get as many as I can out, man. So
yeah, shoot,
it is what it is. Some of these self-explanatory.
Literally have no idea how people are making it and getting ahead on under $100,000 a year in 2025. Like with how much mortgage interest rates are, how much rent can be, how much grocery shopping costs, how much new cars are, used cars, how much car insurance is, how much child care is. It's absolutely wild to me that anyone making under $100,000 is doing anything but surviving. Like, there's no way you are getting ahead and living comfortably on that amount unless you are living at home in your parents' basement for free, like living rent-free or mortgage-free. If you're making under $100,000 a year, you're basically just surviving. There's no way you are getting ahead. So if there's anyone out there that's actually making less than 100,000 and is doing an amazing job, you're able to save, invest, and get wealthy, please let me know what your secret is, because I'm dying to know. I literally have no idea how people are making it.
House hacking.
Huh?
That's how they're making it.
Was that?
House hacking.
Somewhat. I mean, but shit, it depends on the market. How you gonna if you in Houston, how you gonna house hack in Houston?
You get a couple buddies, go get a house.
Shit, but what
if you renting or buying, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got to pay their portion, because if you
you're talking about tenants in common, not house hacking.
Well, I mean, it's called house hacking. You know what I'm saying? When you get a room, your buddy get a room, the other buddy get a room. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody kind of put together to pay.
I thought house hacking was a duplex and triplex quad.
Nah,
Yeah, that's what they call house hacking.
House hacking, you know what I'm saying? When you actually go, like, for example, you know what I'm saying, you go get a house or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and then you just, you buy a house and then you just rent out the other rooms to your peoples.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got to pay the whole thing by yourself, right? So that's what a lot of people are doing. And then here's the thing that a lot of people, it's a market that I don't think a lot of people think about. But when you think about seniors, imagine, you know what I'm saying, regular people are hurting, right? That's fine. But what about the people that just get Social Security?
Right.
Like, Social Security ain't paying you that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they affording a place to live? You know what I'm saying? On $1,000 a month, right? You know what I'm saying? Your whole check is going to rent. So you have to be creative in these certain circumstances in order just to be able to make it. The best way, you know what I'm saying, I've heard that a few seniors, or some seniors are being able to make it, is to partner up with other seniors. And let's make this thing work. Let's go ahead and rent a room.
How much the senior communities are now? Are they expensive? I would think they'd be more expensive than
shit. They're expensive.
Right.
They are expensive. I've been to a few of those senior communities, and they would take care. Now they have the bells and whistles. They will take care of the senior. If anything happens, you know what I'm saying, they'll set up doctor's appointments. They have all these exercise machines and all this other stuff. If you have anything go wrong, go off, you know what I'm saying, a light bulb goes off inside your house, you got maintenance people in the community that would actually take care of it. They had some with their own dining rooms where they had these special menus. They had a hair salon in there and everything. They have it decked out, but that thing is not cheap.
Right.
Not cheap by no stretch of the imagination.
Right.
Now, you know what I'm saying, they have senior communities that's kind of like big apartment complexes, and they have these individual houses inside the community or whatever the case may be. And then you can choose your living quarters. If you want to be in a smaller house by yourself, you could choose that. If you want to be in like an apartment set, you could choose that. But none of that stuff is cheap, because, you know what I'm saying, you have your rent, and then you also have your meal plan that you got to pay for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's crazy. And none of that stuff is affordable for a lot of seniors.
That's your retirement money right there.
That's your retirement money right there. But then here's the other thing, is that now they're starting to do houses. They're starting to do senior living houses.
Right.
But even those, you know what I'm saying, come, with a decent penny on them. So
right.
It's a tough market, you know what I'm saying? I don't think there's no one size fit all as far as the answer goes for those different people. But
I do want to know how boys are making under 100,000 though. It's not the, like I said, you definitely just surviving. There's no way you can stack up, in under 100,000 with car note, student loans, all this other miscellaneous stuff. There's no way.
Oh man, it's a way. It's a way.
I mean,
you say you got people making people making under $100,000 and have 3 or 4 kids,
right?
And still being able to make it through.
But I'm talking about on the books money. That's all. Excuse me. There's all on the books, under the books. I think a lot of people that's got 3, 4 kids, they got a lot of assistance coming in. Or they coupled up. If they get married, they got 3, 4 kids. It's different. I guarantee the family household is more. The household income is more than that. So
possibly, but you know what I'm saying, look, that's a heavy assumption. That's a heavy assumption. There's a lot of people that still has a household income that's underneath that.
Yeah, I'm talking about stacking though. I'm talking about not waiting till you ramen noodles to the first. I'm talking about where you able to thrive and stack and all of the above. I don't see it happening.
It's tough.
I think 100,000 the new $50,000 a year.
I don't know about that.
I think
maybe
so.
75, 80.
Yeah, well,
maybe 75, 80. You know what I'm saying? 50,000. No, you know what I'm saying? To cut it in half like that.
That used to be the pinnacle. You used to have a good job when you make 50,000. This was back in like 20 years ago.
Man, that's 20 years ago. I think with inflation, you know what I'm saying? Look, look, you know what I'm saying? Teachers were starting off at 60 and complaining and, you know what I'm saying, griping and everything. Everything else that it wasn't enough.
Well, I don't think it's really not. I don't think so. This is the new pop-up, I guess. Here we go.
Average, hold on, who is this? J.R. Fletcher, average income in the U.S. is 67,000. They are making it, but not living that best life. That's true. Right. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? It's a way to make it on a lesser salary for sure. You know what I'm saying?
That's what he's saying. You could survive, but are you going on a 2-week vacation where you don't have the budget? Are you able to invest? Are you able to save money?
Yes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think, you know what I'm saying, for most of US America, you know what I'm saying, we've become so debt heavy, we don't necessarily see it unless you have that car note, unless you got a personal loan, or you know what I'm saying, you got all this debt that you done got yourself into. But there's ways to make it, you know what I'm saying, if you keep your debts low.
I agree you can survive. However, I don't agree that you could thrive. I agree that you could survive. You can survive off of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but is that really living?
Is that the way of life? You know what I'm saying? Look, but here's the thing though, it's different depending on who you talk to. Because some people live a minimalist life. You know what I'm saying? They cool with that. That's all I need, peanut butter and jelly. All I need is 1 pair of shorts and 1 pair of t-shirts. Right. Or 2 pair of t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? Just something to change over and over until I watch the first outfit.
Gotcha. Let's go to the next one. I got a couple more. Let's get a couple more before I try to tell.
We have a housing crisis caused by Jerome Powell. He has done more damage to the middle class and to housing in this country than any other single Fed or any decision that has ever been made out of Washington, D.C. These higher interest rates, Jackie, are preventing people to be able to buy homes. That's why you have 500,000 more homes listed than buyers for those homes. When the rates come down, prices will also come down with it because you'll have more supply in the marketplace, and supply is what controls prices. When you have a high supply but no demand because the rates are too high, you don't have buyers coming in to reach those homes. The prices stay up. And this has been proven over hundreds of years. Interest rates do not control prices. Lower interest rates would actually stimulate activity, and activity is what makes the economy work.
Grant,
so
I've got some panelists here who don't agree with that assessment. Kenny, jump in.
Grant, listen, I hear you, but I have to tell you, I think the problem was that they kept rates too low for too long, and they created this explosion in the housing market. I think now what has to happen is rates have to stay where they are and allow people to recognize that housing prices have gotten out of control, and they need to come down on their own. If they lower rates now, it's only going to ignite the housing market once again, which is not where we really want to be.
I'll go, Grant. I'm going to weigh in and say, I want to take the other side of that and say it's a frozen market. I think you're totally right. You need some movement. 100%. And by the way, a little data point. Last month, the PC, the Fed's preferred indicator of inflation, showed that housing and rentals up 27% in 1 month. Something has to change because that is really hurting American consumers.
Yeah, Kenny, look, it's a nice suit you have on. I was on with director of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac yesterday. And Bill Pulte, the director over there at FHFA, is like, we have to have lower rates in America. Lower rates do not promote pricing. It is the marketplace that decides what price to pay for anything. So lower interest rates do not control inflation. He has kept rates up. Inflation dropped, okay? And not because of the higher rates, but because President Trump is coming to America, brought enthusiasm, optimism, and the speculation of opening up the marketplace. So we have to get, if you want homes to move in this country, we need investors back into the marketplace, and we need buyers back into the marketplace able to get a low interest loan.
Right. Or you need housing prices to come down, right? That will also balance it out, because if the housing price comes down, then the rate, it offsets it, right? If they lower rates and housing prices go up, it's going to be the same argument. Yeah, you got a lower rate.
What we have is a housing crisis.
All right, who you agree with, man?
I agree with the other gentleman, not Grant. What's the other gentleman? Jimmy? What's his name?
I forgot. Yeah.
He said Jimmy. I believe he said Jimmy or something like that, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? I agree with him. I completely agree with the fact, you know what I'm saying, that you have to be cautious, especially when you talk about the fact of tariffs and everything else. You have tariffs that's automatically increasing the price of food and everything else. You know what I'm saying? It's also it's automatically increasing the price of life. You know what I'm saying? My wife had a friend the other day, you know what I'm saying, that went to go get her nails done. And they went up by 20%, and they said you can blame the tariffs for it, right? Just because the price went up. So now if you're talking about tariffs going up and then you lower interest rates, and then now, you know what I'm saying, there's more demand in the market, which is what Grant was talking about. There's more movement in the market. That movement is going to increase price. The higher demands on the houses is going to increase the price of the houses, because now we're back in the bidding war again. The people are waiting. People are currently right now waiting for the Feds to say they dropped the rates 0.25% or whatever the case may be. At that point, now you have a whole bunch of uneducated people talking about now is the time to buy, and they're going to jump into the market and want to try to buy a house. The increased demand is going to increase the price of houses, because now you have more bidding wars. And then now you have more higher priced houses that people can't afford. People can't afford the houses now. So I think ideally, you know what I'm saying, the idea is to actually drop the prices of houses, because they actually increased so fast during COVID. So ideally, I'm saying, to balance out the increase of the cost of living, I think it's a smart decision to keep rates the way they are right now.
Right. Before I respond, I'll let JR. He said it. I see it all the time. Paycheck to paycheck. But a good friend of mine told me overdrive to overdrive.
Yep.
I appreciate
JR Fletcher just said the same thing. The same thing I said. It's just basic economics. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, okay, drop the rates, because everybody's trying to line their pocket.
I think that was to the previous video, but I think this is his comment for the
okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
that
as
one.
soon as rates come down, the buyers come out of woodwork, then prices go up for multiple offers. Right.
Absolutely.
So, well, just to comment on it, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. But my point is, I think how long will how long will prices actually take to actually come down? To be realistic, and can we wait that long for prices to actually come down? I don't think prices just going to naturally come down. I think people going to offer incentives. I think people going to get creative because the American people are not that educated. I think we're going to be more what we're seeing right now. Builders not really dropping their price. They're going to offer these fake incentives to get you we'll get you the deluxe package, or and for free, or we'll buy your rate down 5%. And they own the mortgage company, so they're not really missing out on anything. Or you get the buy right now, you get the $25,000 towards closing costs. And, you'll get that, but they're not lowering their prices. It's all gimmicks. So I think that's what you're gonna get more of than anything. Especially with or you get the introductory tickler rate with the rents. Oh, you get $500 off the first month. But what about the other 12 months or the other 11 months? So you get the gimmicks, but I don't think they're gonna lower anytime soon. How long is it gonna take for them to really lower prices before the market's hurting? I don't think we built like that. I think the American economy is like the feather, like we learned in economy class, where when you blow on a feather, it goes up quick, but it comes down slow. You blow that feather, goes up quick, but it comes down slow. That's how it goes. So the prices will go up, shoot up fast, but when they come down, it's going to be a gradual down because people don't want to lose money. That's not what we in this to do, and people hate to lose that profit too, so because they need that profit to keep things going. So how long in reality before prices really come down? I know the market going to correct itself, but how long will that take?
It depends on how much you want it to drop, though.
Yeah, but realistically, the drop where we need it to drop, is that ever going to happen? I don't think so.
Well, you know what I'm saying? It's never going to happen. We're never going to get to pre-COVID levels, right? You know what I'm saying? We're not looking for that. All we're looking to do is not send the market back in a frenzy and send prices increasing at a rapid pace.
I get
the same principle that you just said, when you're saying it went up fast during COVID, but it's a slow downturn, which means that there's a couple of Fed meetings which we have to hold the rates the same in order to get prices back down where they need to be.
Right. Well,
it's not a quick thing where we miss one meeting.
Where is that? This exactly. It's all opinionated. Like at what temperature is hot, what temperature is warm, and what temperature is cold. Everybody got their own opinion on that. So where we need to be? It's opinionated. I think really where it needs to be, in my opinion, is where it's affordable again, and that's never going to happen. So we talking some impossible things. So what Grant is saying, we might as well, all right, just kick that can down the road. How long can we kick it down the road? Keep it revving up. Because we waiting on something that might not happen. It's impossible. We're not going back to pre-COVID. At what temperature is hot, what temperature is warm, and what temperature is cold? It's all subjective.
It is subjective, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we need prices to go down, which is what they're doing. You just showed a few videos talking about prices going down, which means the Fed is doing what it's supposed to do. The Fed holding rates is doing what it's supposed to do, which is dropping the actual prices of homes.
Gotcha,
so it's working. You're admitting that it's working.
Nah, but my point is that where is what we need to be? In my opinion, where we need to be is going to be pre-COVID, which will never happen. Because the way prices, the way wages are going, because we both in the mortgage industry, right?
Yep.
We both want
Yep.
more clients to be able to afford houses.
Correct.
That's the objective, right?
Correct.
So at that point, if we try to get more people in, more swings at the bat, right? I mean, more swings at the ball, that would mean that they have to match wages. And how long is that going to happen? How long before it dropped before that happened? Never. So, all right, what would you rather get some money right now? I'm gonna sit there and wait, and hopefully, it's never gonna go down that far. So, like what Grant is saying is, because I kind of agree with both, but I think Grant has got a point there too. It's like, man, look, this is go ahead and rev it up.
No,
just rev it up. I mean, we wait. We're gonna wait forever.
No, I don't think I'm saying the feds are saying that we're waiting forever. I don't think feds are saying that we're trying to wait until it gets to pre-COVID levels, you know what I'm saying? Because as J.R. Fletcher said, you know what I'm saying, that's going to never happen, you know what I'm saying? But all we're trying to do is keep inflation intact to help offset the other variables that we have that's increasing inflation. That's all I'm saying. So you know what I'm saying, we're not talking about necessarily everything needs to drop 50%. We're not saying that. All we're trying to say is we're just trying to stop everything from going up 75%.
Right, I get the slower to a trickle, but he's saying to actually prices to drop. All right, how will it ever drop?
It's what it's doing though.
Is it to slow or to drop? That's two different things. To slow down is different. Now to drop, that's to go in the other direction.
That's correct.
Yeah,
but that's what it's doing though. What are you talking about?
Not really.
Increasing and decreasing interest rates right now, you know what I'm saying, is going to put us on a bubble the same way we were back then. The same problem that we're in. The same problem that we're now. Don't get me wrong, us being in the real estate industry, it's a great thing for us. You know what I'm saying? From a biased opinion, absolutely, it's a great thing for us. But for the actual consumer, for the actual person that's actually purchasing a house or trying to afford a house, it's not the best thing for them.
I mean, the thing is that, all right, when is the best time? It's all subjective. When is the best time? Because if you're sitting there waiting for the actual perfect wave, you'll never surf.
I don't think they're waiting for a perfect wave.
What are we waiting on?
Waiting on signals that if a rate drop, it's not going to send us in the same frenzy that we were before.
It's going to happen. That's the nature of of it.
No.
So, all right, if they like you just said, if they lower the quarter point, everybody, and even J.R. Fletcher said, everybody comes out the woodwork.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
The buying frenzy gonna happen. That's what happens. So what are we waiting on? It's never gonna get to where it's never gonna get to back where it's pre-COVID. That bubble is there. It is not gonna burst to where it crashed because we got so many demand on houses. That's where we're at right here in America. This is what we face with. This is what it is. That's my point. JR said before we go to the next one. He said never going to happen. Everything that's financed from houses, the cars, the education will always continue to increase. It's always going to increase. So it's never going to go backwards. Not happening. Deflation. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it happen?
Yeah. You just showed a couple of videos with deflation.
No. That's not deflation. That's rolling back. That's incentives.
No. That's not incentives. When you showed the video where it talked about guy talking about, you know what I'm saying, people buying Austin properties and now they're over leveraged. Right. Now they're underwater. How do you become underwater? Because now the price of your house, the value of your house didn't go up. It went down versus what you owe. Right. That's how you become underwater. You don't become underwater because your property kept increasing in price.
Well, no, I disagree with you. You become underwater when you owe more than the property's worth.
But what about the value? You telling me the value increased?
The value didn't. The value wasn't enough to overcome the interest rate. That's what we're talking about. So you didn't pay it down fast enough. Yeah, listen to what I'm saying. So the interest beat you out. You know, so you overpaid from the get go. So and on couple that with the interest, your payment's not enough to keep you from drowning. That's what that is.
But in the
real estate,
in the real estate industry that we're in, B, how do you overpay for a property unless you get an appraisal that says that your house is worth that amount?
Well, people were paying over the appraised value.
But what I'm saying is that in order to get that house that you overpaid for, you have me and you have to do a loan, right? How do you get that property? Unless the property appraises for that.
People were paying over them. They were paying out of pocket.
You have some situations like that, B. But you and I both know majority of the files that we do, people don't have funds like that to just overpay $50,000 for a property.
I had a bunch of files like that, 15, 20, 25, 30. They paid over the price, over the appraised value. A lot of files in 2021, 22.
Okay.
You know, that's how they get upside down.
Okay.
You overpaid.
I can get 10 mortgage brokers on here, that would actually disagree with you, but okay.
All right, so
that's fine. You want to say that to try to prove a point, but at the end of the day, there's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of people that's going to overpay out of pocket for a property that hasn't appraised for that.
So
I'm not saying none. I'm just saying there's not a lot of people. Overwhelmingly.
What did the guy say earlier? The guy that we was talking about. A lot of people overpaid. They overpaid for the property in 21, 22. That's what they did.
They overpaid for it the same way they did back in 2008 in the crash because appraisers were appraising the properties for that amount. That's how they got the money to actually buy it.
No, I'm not disagreeing that happened too, but I've seen a lot of files where it was appraised for this and they came out of pocket with this. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of it. I've done a lot of them.
Okay.
They're not just in Austin, in Dallas. I've done it in Houston.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I've seen it.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not disputing that. Look, I'm not disputing that the fact that it didn't happen. But when we're talking about large percentage of numbers.
Now, you talking about the majority, I would say no.
But that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that there are people that cashed out like a fat rat from California, came down and was just like, man, an extra $20,000. I pay that. There ain't no problem. Whatever case may be. There are situations like that where that happen. But when you're talking about large numbers, then that's where I'm saying that it just didn't happen.
Right. But it happened. It happened a lot. I mean, because coming from California Bay Area, they cashed out a $2 million house to get this little $300,000 house to put an extra $15,000, $20,000. You know what I'm saying? That was a nothing. I've seen it all the time. Because what happened is, think about it. If this is the house that I want. This is the house that the wife want. You know, we were retiring, or we just got relocated. This ain't nothing to get the house that the wife want. And they don't plan on moving or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So what they're hoping is that eventually it'll get caught up. You see what I'm saying? So
I hear you.
That's what happened. So like I said, John Flynn said people sold in California and overpaid in Texas. That's what happened. That's
absolutely they did that.
Yeah.
Because it was nothing to them. Coming from the values in California, it was nothing for them.
So all of that. I got a couple more. Let's run this, and it's over 12:39. I can't be all night, man. I can't be all night. Let's see. Hold on. I don't know if I want to play this right here. Oh yeah, let's play this one right here. This is a good one. Let's run this.
Yep.
That's a good one right here.
We're being forced to shut down our Sip It Wing location located here in Alamo Ranch. The landlord decided not to renew our lease simply because we serve alcohol. This is why it's not just enough to own your business. You need to own the land and the building itself. If not, it can be just taken away from you like that. Not only are we losing $500,000 that we had to put into this location to build out, but we're losing $1 million revenue stream. So I say this to say, entrepreneurs, not only do you need to own your business, but you need to own the real estate too. We're being forced to shut down.
100% get that. And a lot of times, you want to have your destiny in your own hands. But unfortunately, there's a lot of business owners that don't have that that wherewithal to have the millions of dollars or the thousands of dollars in order to put down to actually own their own commercial property.
Right.
But I do think it's the same situation. When we talked about, you know what I'm saying, a reality show we used to watch, which is called Black Ink Crew. Black Ink Crew had been in New York in the same location. It's the first location they ever had. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, the landlord decides that, man, I don't like y'all being in here, and tripled their rent for the simple fact, you know what I'm saying, he wanted them out. Just because the fact they didn't own the building, it was nothing that they can do. Even though they've been there for years, they had the history there, they had to uproot and move to another location. I mean, they had multiple other locations, but still, it's something sentimental about the first location that you have on any business that you have that's successful. So, you know what I'm saying, if you're in a position to where, you know what I'm saying, you can own your own spot, or you can find a spot where you can own your own spot. Maybe it's not as big of a strip. It's always the ideal situation, but it's just unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, it can't happen all the time.
Man, I'll always preach that. I've always preached that, make a real estate play, because my mentor mattress Mac, that's how he made his come up. His brother lent him the money to buy that spot, that right there for 45. And then he expanded. He brought the apartment complex, and then pretty much owned that whole little piece of strip of land right there. So just off of the apartment complex that he owned, that pays for everything. So everything else is in the black from there, because just the rent that he paid for that apartment complex. That he owned that apartment complex free and clear. After he paid the property taxes on that, that's it. And then the rest, the rent there paid for the maintenance and upkeep of and electricity and everything for the store out there. Yep. So all he got to do is pay for the material, and and that is 3, 4, 5, 6 turns on that. So every time a piece of furniture, that it all pays for itself. So it's extremely profitable. Gerald said we now see lateral movement from larger houses to single story, smaller homes. This is coming with seniors. I mean, I just downsized myself a little bit, to make a little bit lateral move, to invest in some businesses and stuff like that, man. It is what it is. I mean, it's overhyped. Like the big house, big crib. It's kind of a flex that's not really necessary no more. People not having people to the house like that no more. Not at least not me. Now with these drop pins and how, people, people could have access to your crib like it is now. Like you're very cautious. At least me, I'm very cautious of who I have to my exact crib. So people not having people over there like at the house not like that no more. So I'm not entertaining like that.
Correct.
So. That's right. I want to get your opinion on this one. This is a good one.
Hold on a second. Before you do that one, you know what I'm saying? Here, let me comment on JR's comment real quick. I think, you know what I'm saying, for a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, nobody's congregating at Big Mama's house anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's time that they actually pass the torch. The youngest are now starting to grow up and be grown adults and have their own establishment. You know what I'm saying? And then those are becoming the new meeting spots. So I think for a lot of seniors, you know what I'm saying, from affordability level, they are starting to get in smaller houses that are actually cheaper, because, you know what I'm saying, I think the evolution is to eventually, you know what I'm saying, grow yourself into this house where, you know what I'm saying, now you can have enough room for your family to grow and not be on top of each other. But eventually, you know what I'm saying, when the kids leave the nest, you downsize in order to kind of become more affordable, you know what I'm saying, and more catering to your lifestyle at that point. Because now you don't need necessarily all that space, and it's unnecessary to pay for a 3,000, 3,500, $4,000, 4,000 square foot house when you don't have the kids there, you know what I'm saying, to take up all that square footage. So ideally, it's to sell the big house. And there's a lot of seniors that are actually doing that. Hey, look, I'm selling this house. I'm moving to a senior community, to a smaller house. And now as we start to evolve and, you know what I'm saying, house prices are starting to become what they become, now there's this whole fad of tiny home communities, because tiny home communities are cheaper to build, and they can actually charge less for people to actually rent those, or charge less for people to purchase those. There's a lot of communities being brought up in being built up in Dallas. There's a lot of communities being built up in Austin and other locations in the country. But those are just the two main ones that I know about up to this point. So JR is 100% right. You know what I'm saying? I think at that point, when you start to get up, you're passing the baton. We're now meeting at the kid's house, or if they're old enough, the grandkids' house. We're no longer meeting up at my house. I need to downsize in order to be able to afford it for my lifestyle.
I would take it a step further. I think you got to reimagine the family unit. I think it's been since that. I could go down a whole rabbit hole with this, but I'm saying it's streamlined because we got a roll. The family unit and dynamic has changed in 2025. People have more pets than kids. The large family is going to be, has become a trend of being a thing of the past. So more people are, alternate lifestyles as well, so they're not having the big families no more. You got more people, more single than ever. They have a lot of dogs and stuff like that. People not having as many people over. Also, there's these Starbucks and these these share spaces where you can meet people and rent office space for an hour and stuff like that. People are having those to have it instead of just at the house Tupperware parties. I could go to the Commons. I mean, what's the name of that spot that the Cannon, and I could rent a whole auditorium and stuff for like $47. And I have that. I'd rather have that than somebody at my crib. So you got it's changing. So people not having people over to the house. The house is becoming, I think, gonna be smaller and smaller, and it's gonna be more about the location, than anything, And I think shared space is gonna be the future as the population grows and people having less and less kids and less large families. I think that's the future. I want to get your opinion on this right here. Let's run this next one.
All right.
You already know what my opinion is.
24-year-old Houston man. He says he's been fighting for about 3 years now to get back 8 properties that were stolen from him. He told KPRC2's Joy Addison that the fight is costing him his health. Joy.
Well, Keith, the man goes by the name of Sam. He says these properties are valued at just over $1.1 million. He says he was made aware that the properties were allegedly stolen from him after he received a notice to pay rent on a property that he thought he'd always owned outright. In 2022, after receiving the notice to pay rent to a person other than the landlord, Sam says he called the lender on the paperwork. He was then told that the property had been transferred to a property management group that had the same last name as his ex-partner.
She said, well, they got your property and they remodeling company. I said, what?
He then learned that a $1 million loan had been taken out against the property and 7 others that he owned.
And she took the deeds, got a lump sum loan against them because all the properties were paid off.
After that, then they liquidated all my property.
The woman accused argues that the properties were given to her, but Sam says the signature on the new deeds is not his. He says he feels he was taken advantage of because the woman accused is about 30 years younger than him, had access to a notary, and a history of theft and fraud. As long as you have a notary, taking deeds is easier than we might think.
Anyone can go file something in the property records office. They can record something on a property. All you need is a document. You're recording, you go down there, you say, I'm recording it for this specific property. You pay them a small fee, $10, $20, and you can record a new deed.
For an 84-year-old Houston man, he says he's been fighting for about 3 years now to get back 8.
What you think, man?
Man, that's a hell of a thing. But here's the thing. It happens probably more. Now, this one here made the news, but it probably happens more than, we think. Because here's the thing, on the properties that we have, several times I've actually went ahead and changed the actual ownership of the property to move it into an LLC. And there's nothing there. There's no checks and balances as far as trying to check and make sure signatures is legit. None of that stuff. If you do a warranty deed, it's signature on there, and then there's a notary stamp on there, regardless if it's legal or not legal. Once you put that thing down there to process and you send it to the recorder's office, or you have somebody e-record it, it's done. Ownership transfers. And then it becomes a civil matter at that point. It's unfortunate, that he's been fighting this thing for 3 years. Obviously, you can take documents that he signed, with his name and match that up with a signature that was on that warranty deed and be able to determine if that was his or not. You know what I'm saying? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, here's the thing, is that he's an older gentleman. What happens when he passes away?
Right.
When he passes away, it's going to be hell trying to get that person. Now, she done hit the lotto doing some fraud stuff that she was able to get over on. It's a very unfortunate situation. I think something has to be done about it, but nothing is going to be done about it because these situations here are a minority, not a majority.
Right. I mean, my thing is you gotta watch. You gotta watch who you're around. And I'm glad it was a good piggyback from the previous video because I mean, you're making my point. That's why a lot of people are the way they are. They don't allow people in their personal space. You know, they rather read at a mutual spot. You know, the trust is too much. It's different than before because fraud is at an all-time high because you got YouTube videos and tutorials and classes you can take how to defraud people. The information's out there. It's the information age. So you got to watch it. You got to watch your back, your side, your front. Yep. So I'm not gonna have somebody around my personal information they can steal, and you know, and I'm not knowing, and you know, jeopardize my life savings, and you know, all the properties I work for and all that. I'm not doing it. You know, so I'd rather meet somebody at mutual spot, or or I'd rather be have my arrangements. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to. You got to watch what's going on out there. The world has changed. Like Future says, the cold world out there. You know what I mean? So you got to watch what you're doing out there. Is the loyalty's gone? Everything's gone, man. It's a different world.
Everybody got a scheme. Everybody got a hustle. Right. It's unfortunate, man. I hope they're able to figure it out before he passes on.
Right.
Because 3 years? Come on, man.
I think we live idealistic. I think we live in our mind like this 1925. This is 2025.
It's a different era of people.
Yeah.
And it was paid off. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. JR just said it, where you could put it in a trust. Absolutely. Right. But I think, for the older generation, they're not necessarily privy enough to that information. And I don't think the younger generation, know enough and understand real estate enough to even advise them to actually do that. If they would have put it in a trust, she would have never found it unless he told her what the trust name was. She would never find out what the properties it was that he owned. Right. It's a great way to actually protect your assets. But unfortunately, I think it's the older generation, that just, hey, look, I own this property, it's in my name. I've owned it for X amount of years. I don't think anything could ever happen to it until something happens. And then you start to think different. It's unfortunate.
Right. I got a couple more that we're going to roll out. I remember putting this one in a couple of weeks ago.
Bag is made in China. How can luxury brands print made in Italy? It's illegal, right? Now, you see, this EU law says that I'm allowed to say made in Italy if last substantial transformation is done here in Italy. So, I have imported this bag from China. It cost me $20. But here in Italy, I will just stitch this zipper, which is legally the last substantial transformation. And now this bag is suddenly made in Italy. And I will sell it to you for $2,000. Because now you're imagining it was handcrafted by Italian artisans sipping Prosecco under the Mediterranean sun. The irony is that the Chinese artisans are now way more skilled than Italian or any European ones, but they don't drink Prosecco. Oh, and by the way, this entire video is also not made in Italy. It's so easy to trick you.
Yeah, I put that in because I remember a few weeks ago we had the woman falling out for the Hermes bag or the Birkin bag or whatever, and this is part of what I was saying is like, they don't understand like the laws. It's the same Chinese, as the bang bang is the bootleg. All they do is they throw in a button and now it's all of a sudden made in Italy. It's all of a sudden, they just put the last little label on there, and it transfer the actual value supposedly, but it's all perceived value. It all takes exactly the same amount to produce, and we pay an absorbent amount of money just because of the name and the status. It's all perceived. So I think that's a sickness, especially in our community. And that's where a lot of our wealth's go. We like to pay higher interest. We want it now, and we get these labels and stuff like that, make it cool, and everybody else monetize off of it. And that's why with that mentality, you're always gonna be behind because it's not smart. I think we should just get rid of all labels, man. Labels is dumb. I think putting value in clothes is dumb.
Well, it's a great thought, but you know what I'm saying, it ain't gonna never happen. Because one, you know what I'm saying, how do you build brand recognition, you know what I'm saying, unless you have labels on there, right? I don't think, you know what I'm saying, people necessarily, here's the thing, you know what I'm saying, that the name becomes what people actually are attracted to, not necessarily where it's actually made from, I think. You know what I'm saying? I don't claim to be a designer. I'm not in the designer industry, whatever the case may be. If they had a name on it, Balenciaga, whatever the case may be, and they had made in China on there, but because of the name that, you know what I'm saying, people figure, okay, there's value in this name. Even if it says it's made in China, if this t-shirt is $1,000, I'm going to pay $1,000 for it. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. It seems better if it's made in Italy versus China. But I think people are more attached to the name itself versus, you know what I'm saying, where it's actually made from. But it's still unfortunate that people pay so much money for it. Hey, look, if you can afford it, not a problem at all. But if you have to take out a loan to buy a bag, you can't afford it. Like, it's unnecessary. Just because you want somebody to say, oh man, you got a such and such, just because you're looking for that social acceptance. And social acceptance is never worth that.
Right.
Not according to, you know what I'm saying, any rate of return that you can get on that investment, on that money that you can spend, put in stocks or put in real estate, put in any kind of investment and actually be able to get a return for, just because somebody say, oh my God, I can't believe you have that bag. Oh my God, I can't believe you have that shirt or the pants or that car. It's never really worth it. But I don't think, you know what I'm saying, nothing's going to change from that.
I know I had one of the piggyback.
Tariffs just showed just how much as Americans we lack financial literacy. So this queen right here went and purchased one of the $350 bags from the Chinese manufacturers, which will cost her $2,000 in America. And then she did a side-by-side comparison and breakdown of both bags and realized that everything is absolutely the same. Down to the logo designs, the stitching, the accessories to the bag, absolutely everything. And see, if we had financial literacy, we would not be maxing out our credit cards to go ahead and buy luxury items, especially when we're paying 2,000% more than what it cost them to make these bags. And now China is even being more relaxed when it comes to stealing American company IPs, and they're basically letting manufacturers go ahead and make duplicate products of the IPs that they have from European and American companies to go ahead and sell directly to American consumers. Like, our need to be consumers is basically disgusting. Like, look at this lady right here basically crying, breaking down in tears because she finally was approved to buy a $38,000 Hermes bag that literally only costs $1,400 to be created.
If you don't come down, we'll never show you what.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, come down.
Okay, yes. You don't know what is it.
And if this didn't open your eyes to stop being a consumer, then I don't know what will. Now is the time to stop using your credit for luxury lifestyles and luxury items that you're being overpriced for, and start working on your credit so that you can start getting investments, start getting the funding you need to start cash flowing businesses. 5 items deleted for this client.
But yeah, man. I knew I had a piggyback. Yeah, Jordan. I hadn't had a pair of Jordans since high school. I've never seen the lower. They're not all that comfortable. They don't look all that good to me, but it's a status symbol. We pay what? How much is Jordan now? $300, $400, $500? I know it used to be
$200 or $300, I believe.
Yeah, so it used to be like $150 back in the day. I know, so I knew it had to be something to that effect, but
150 was ridiculous back then.
That was ridiculous back then, but yeah. That was something new, like $100 for a pair of shoes. That was something new.
Oh man.
Back
But
then in the 80s and 90s.
But here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? People would spend money more so on shoes. And here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? People were spending a shit ton of money on baby shoes.
Right.
Just to have their babies walking around and enjoy it. Well, you know what I'm saying? Their baby with Jordans on their feet and the babies wasn't even walking. The baby was in a stroller. I'm like, really? Right. Or, you know what I'm saying? I had buddies, you know what I'm saying, staying in apartments, staying in apartments in the hood, you know what I'm saying? But every time Jordan was released, mama was standing or daddy was standing in line to go get them $150 Jordans.
Right. So
it was ridiculous.
That's my point, is like with that coupled with what we talked about in the earlier slide about under 100,000, the consumerism coupled with the inflation, there's no way you driving less than 100,000. And those people that's less than 100,000 be the biggest consumers. I don't get it. They have an air mattress, but you'll have a closet full of Jordans. Don't get it. In an apartment. You know, so it's financial literacy, man. Like I said, I got two more, then we gonna roll, because I didn't know it was one. So the time is rolling. The time is rolling. So I got two more. We gonna roll. I had to put this one in there.
Mortgage, raising 2 kids, 2 used cars, gas in that car, insurance for the car, 1 bout of student debt, power, food, phone, health insurance, and taxes. Same numbers. 2,636 would be what you get in 1998. You know what it is in 2025? Those same exact metrics would bring you to a total of $7,368, and I didn't even include the tax because I thought it made it too dramatic. $88,416 would be your yearly total to raise a young family in America while also owning the median mortgage. And you may be asking, what was the median income back in 1998? Well, I'll tell you, it was $38,885, meaning there was a surplus. How much? $7,523. What's the surplus today? It's not. In fact, for the first time ever, 2023, 2024, and 2025 will be negative. And in 2025, it was $13,836 in the negative if you made the median household income and tried to raise a young family and raise up the American dream in your household. In 1998 and every year back to 1973, it was possible to raise a young family in a median home, taking on the minimal lifestyle to raise up the American dream. Today, not even close.
So I kind of rest my case. That's what I'm talking about earlier. Under 100,000 with the inflation, consumerism, you ain't striving. You ain't thriving. You surviving. If that, and it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. Most people are in debt. You know, this is where we're at. And you talk about housing. You talk about getting housing. You got to get some discipline first. You know, and then all it is gimmick after gimmick. I agree with Grant. Let's go back to Grant Cardone. If we're gonna play gimmicks, let's just go and gimmick it up, and let's let the real people make some money. It's never gonna correct itself. You know, so all right, let's go ahead. All right, it's sharks in the water. Let's go ahead and learn how to swim. We might as well. All you're doing is kick. It's not gonna happen. It's not going backwards. It's going forward. Run it up. Run it up.
Easier said than done.
Easier
said than done. Easier said than done. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? I 100% hear what you're saying.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying is not enough to sit here and be like, oh, let's just drop rates, let the market go crazy, and then look back and be like, damn, we probably shouldn't have did that.
What's the repercussions?
The exorbitant amount of cost of living. That's the repercussion.
The cost of living, we're already at a negative.
We're already at a negative, but there's a difference between negative 10% and negative 50%. There's a difference.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? Even though you're talking about we're at a negative, it all ain't the same. Just like you know what I'm saying, you know, it's like you now we're at a point where, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot easier to have multiple jobs. Get it? You know what I'm saying? At this point now, you know what I'm saying, it's not enough just to sit at one 9-to-5 job and that's enough to actually be able to survive. Right. If you're not having another income inside the household or another income somewhere else, as far as a side business or something like that, then, you know what I'm saying, you're probably going to struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be a little bit of a hassle. I get that. But, you know what I'm saying, we're not trying to make a bad situation worse. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's all the Fed's saying. That we're not trying to make a bad situation worse. Oh, we're in a negative, so shit, we might as well, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, we can't afford to pay gas or electric, so we might as well go to Cancun and ball out. Like, how does that make financial sense?
Well, this is the thing. The financially illiterate are not going to shape up overnight. It's always going to be there. It's a constant variable, right?
It's going to be there regardless, though.
It's going to be there regardless.
If you lower interest rate or keep interest rate the same, it's still going to be there.
That's my point. But let me finish. Let me finish my bill.
Okay. All right.
So they're never going to be able to. It's never going to. When they had the opportunity pre-COVID, where everybody can live the American dream and do it affordably. Yep. A lot of people still ain't taking advantage. Some people did. Some people didn't. Most people didn't.
All right.
So it's not going to go back to that where prices going to drop, where everybody can get in the pool anymore. It's trending to the fact, like we said all the time on the podcast, it's going to be rich, it's going to be poor, nothing in between. So would you rather prolong that, or let's go ahead and just run it up and let me go ahead and get the rich get richer and the poor going to get poor? It is what it is. So we just prolong it. Huh?
I think everybody been singing that same song for God knows how long. Middle class gonna be gone. Middle class gonna be gone. Everybody been singing that for the past 15, 20 years, and the middle class
is going to be gone. The middle class is going bye-bye.
So it's gonna be another 20 years. Middle class gonna still be here, and people talking about middle class gonna be gone. There's gonna be no middle class.
I think
it's always gonna be a middle class.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know about that, because think about it, is middle class is not just how much you're making, it's how much you're worth. So most people are going to be in debt. They're going to be debt slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to have people that actually have money. So what Grant Cardone is saying is that, for people that got money and financial freedom, let's go do it now. I'll do it now. We're just prolonging it. Let's go ahead and get these houses fixed and flipping, and go ahead and get these renters and tenants in place now instead of just prolonging it. All you're doing is slowing down my progress, because it's never going to get to where everybody can get in the pool again. Either you're going to learn how to swim with sharks or you're going to drown. Everybody can't get. It's no longer a kiddie pool there. That's what I'm saying. So how long are we going to hold it open to try to get everybody in? It's not going to happen. We've been trying to warn them. I've been warning them on the podcast. Hey, this is happening right now. The wages ain't going up. Everything's getting high. Y'all ain't going to be able to afford a house. We've been warning them for years.
Yeah, but the wages ain't going up, but it's a lot easier now than it was 20 years ago in order to kind of make money doing side jobs, side business, or whatever the case may be.
Who's been saying this for the last few years?
What do you mean who's been saying this?
I've been saying this for the last couple of years, that you need to make the money different ways, and then invest.
Correct.
Smart.
But I mean, that's been a topic. But you know what I'm saying, regardless, if you say it another 20 years, there's going to be a percentage that take heed to that advice, and there's going to be a percentage that's just like, no, I got it. You know what I'm saying? We good on government assistance.
But
it's still going to be the same thing 20 years from now.
To make the houses, the price of housing drop where it could be affordable again. Isn't that your stance?
No. My stance is to not make a bad situation worse. That's my stance.
So you said earlier, I'm gonna have to play it, brother. You said you agree with the other guy that was on.
I do agree with the guy. I agree 100%. You said the answer to the solution, and I'm still saying the same thing now. The answer and the solution is not to lower rates.
Okay, why is that not the answer?
Because that's going to make a bad situation worse. What are you talking about? Affordability is already hard right now, so we're going to make it less affordable. So we're going to make it less affordable. And
All
that's
right,
going to make the economy boom again.
This is my stance. Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's never gonna be affordable no more. Not on the average salary. You said what I'm saying. So why not?
No, I'm not saying what you said.
Hold on. Let me see how.
All right. Let's hear it.
So it's never gonna be affordable on the look at the statistics. We just ran from 98 to 2025.
Yep.
It's never gonna be affordable again. It's done. Unless something happens where they start paying people more. But now, like you just said, that's not gonna happen because they got so many side hustles. That's the new way of doing things. Side hustles, Uber, online businesses. That's where it's going. So either you're gonna learn how to play the game and win, or you're gonna try to be old school and try to do it off of one salary. I'm a teacher. You never gonna be able to afford a house again. Not just like that. You're gonna have to be a teacher. You're gonna have to have an OF. You're gonna have to have this. You're gonna have to have that. That's the future.
They got teachers right now still buying houses. B, what we talking about?
All right.
They got teachers right now still buying houses. So you know what I'm saying? No teachers buying houses is just priced out the market.
We're not saying absolutes.
Is that what we're saying?
We're saying in general.
Okay.
We're saying
in general, people are still able to buy houses if they're financially responsible.
Right.
If they're financially responsible, you know what I'm saying? If they're financially responsible, look, I had an article, you know what I'm saying, where there was a teacher.
Is the majority of Americans financially responsible?
I don't know. I don't know statistics.
Majority is 51% or more.
You're right. I mean, I don't have the studies on that, so I can't necessarily speak on. You know what I'm saying? 100%.
Based on your experience, the majority of people that you've met in your lifetime financially responsible.
No.
Okay. All right. So with that being said,
okay,
how can you make the minority the norm? Most people are not. We know this. So most people are not going to be financially sound. It's only for the elite and the disciplined few. So it's going to always be that. Okay. By you lowering the bar, it's not going to change anything.
Okay.
So it's never going to be affordable again to that person. They had the opportunity.
Is.
Okay.
It is.
We're gonna see how it works.
It is, B. Because here's the thing.
How is that gonna happen?
Here's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Is that you mean to tell me that if somebody is not financially responsible, they can never be financially responsible? So you mean to tell me somebody that makes bad money decisions, you know what I'm saying, could never change to actually be able to be financially responsible?
That's moving the goalpost. What I'm saying is
that's not moving the goalpost. What I'm saying is that you're saying that, hey, look, if you're not financially responsible, you're always going to be unfinancially responsible. You know what I'm saying? So why are we trying to give you an opportunity?
We're talking in a broad spectrum. You're trying to narrow it down to the individual.
That is the broad spectrum, B.
No.
Because if we're talking, okay, so we're talking about
this.
We're talking about financially responsible versus not financially responsible.
Will there always be people in this box that's going to be the majority? Yes. Can individuals move from side to side? Yes, both are true. Well, we're talking in the broad spectrum of things. Majority of people that's going to be in this box that's just working the one job, the 9 to 5, and that's all they want to do. They don't want to do anything extracurricular. It's going to be hard for them, if not impossible, for them to afford housing. It's gone. That's what we're saying. You're going to have to do a couple of things to make up. You're going to have other businesses. You're going to have to team up with some people. You're going to have to do other things. What happened in 1960, 70, 80 is gone, is what we're saying. So you're looking try to make that model fit in today. It's gone. That's why you're trying to make some houses slow down. Drop the prices. It's gone. COVID changed everything. It's the new normal. It is what it is. So what Grant is saying, instead of trying to look back in the rearview mirror, let's run it up. Because I'm gonna make mine. Why you holding my pockets back? To try to keep somebody to get on the bus. He just gonna have to miss the bus. Is what I'm saying. So that's why are we holding it back? Run it up. Let them do what they do. They're gonna get in. Everybody go. It's gonna be another bubble. It is what it is. Run it. Let's run it. What we waiting on? That's my point. Let's run it. Because what are the benefits of waiting? Because it's never gonna be what you're saying.
It is.
How? When?
And it has happened. B, you just showed the videos, you know what I'm saying, where the actual prices are dropping, you know what I'm saying, to where they can become a little bit more affordable for people. What are we talking about? I know you're talking about with incentives and all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying, but the truth of the matter is that if you have a surplus of inventory, what do you have to do to move that inventory? You have to drop the prices on them in order to move them. That's just the natural progression of the economy. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. So, you know what I'm saying? What you're trying to say is that, you know what I'm saying, hey, look, if you missed the bus this time, you know what I'm saying, the bus is gone. We're not going to give anybody an opportunity. We're not going to give anybody the opportunity to get the American dream.
You got the
if you're behind, you're just going to get left behind.
Yeah,
we don't care about you.
The opportunity, the terms and conditions have changed on the opportunity. The opportunity that was in the 60s and 70s are not the same terms and conditions. It was an update.
Everything has changed from the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Everything has changed from the 80s and 90s. Everything has changed from the 90s to 2000s.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Everything has changed. The American dream has changed. You know what I'm saying? Everything has changed.
Right.
But the necessarily, you know what I'm saying, that we're going to leave people behind, that has never changed. That's going to never change. If that's the case, Section 8 will be gone. If that's the case, Social Security will be gone. If that's the case, you know what I'm saying, any kind of government assistance will be gone. If that's the case, if we're just going to leave you behind, hey, look, you know what I'm saying, it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? You didn't able to get your life together and make financial decisions. So we're not going to give you any help.
No, I think you thinking leave behind means that I'm going to leave you homeless. No, leave behind means you'll never be on this side.
What side is that? What two sides are we talking about, B?
We're talking about rich versus poor. Rich, poor. That's all they're going to be.
So there's no in between.
There's going to be no in between soon.
Okay.
That's my stance. You're either gonna be rich, you're gonna be poor. There's gonna be no in between, no middle class.
Okay.
Middle class has constantly been shrinking. There used to be where you could, 50, 60,000, that was middle class. That's poor now. That is poor. Am I lying?
That's not poor.
Okay.
Anytime you can have a teacher, you know what I'm saying, that's making 50 or 60 grand, you know what I'm saying, and able to retire as a millionaire, you know what I'm saying, there are ways to actually be able to get above and beyond. No. There's still teachers right now doing it. There's still people right now. I mean, we're talking about teachers, you know what I'm saying, but it could be any industry. As long as you're financially responsible, you know what I'm saying, you can get ahead and make the proper investments.
Show me a teacher that's going to graduate 23, 24 that can retire for $60,000 a year. 55.
Depending on what they've done with their money for the past 10, 15 years that they did.
Video. You want me to run it again? That a minimalist lifestyle is not the same as it was in 1998. It's in a negative.
I hear you. $60,000 a year, B, is $5,000 a month. You mean to tell me nobody can live off $5,000 a month? Stop.
Nobody didn't say that. You see how you moving?
That's essentially what you're saying. You're saying that you're poor if you're making $60,000. You're not poor if you're making $5,000 a month. That is not poor.
You know the difference between rich and poor?
If you're making $60,000, you can't get no government assistance. How about that? So how are you poor?
That is poor. That is poverty level.
If you can't get government assistance, getting government assistance is poverty level because they won't allow for you to have a certain amount of money in your pocket. They won't allow for you to own real estate. They won't allow for you to own assets.
Right.
There's a reason that you get government assistance, B.
Right. Gotcha.
It is not the same.
All right. Yep. So that is poor nowadays. I mean, cause think about it. You got, if you're 60,000, most let's be honest, gonna have student loans. You got the government. They don't know how to file taxes, so you taking a third of that's gone already. So you thinking about living off of 37 after the tax is gone.
In a world where now, you know what I'm saying?
Hold on, let's run it. Let's
But the
run it.
primary objective is not to go to school and get a bunch of student loans.
Hold
now,
on.
You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
talk
If
about
we're
the
talking about the difference between now and back in the 80s and 90s, B, you know, and we've talked about on this podcast where it ain't the same.
Right.
It's
but
no
I'm talking-
longer the demand for you to go to college after high school.
That would
That's
be a
no
smart
longer
thing.
that's no longer demand.
That would be a smart thing to do. But
so you know what I'm saying, if that's the case, then you know what I'm saying, and you don't go to college, you know what I'm saying, you don't have those student loans to worry about. You're going straight into the workforce.
Well, let's talk about this teacher. Since you brought up the teacher, let's talk about the teacher.
All right, let's talk
they
about
got the 100,000 plus in student loans. You know, so after taxes, you got 37, which is basically $3,100 a month. Then you got you just seen in Atlanta, a one bedroom $1,700. $1,700. That's half
on $5,000 a month. On $5,000 a month, you can't afford that.
Don't forget about taxes. That's gross, not net.
That is.
Yeah,
That is.
so after taxes, after that $5,000, gonna be like 31. If she's single,
No,
or he's single.
No, be
How much is single finance? Google it. It's 30%.
Okay.
Is that math? You know, so after that, after you taxes, let's say you had 31, 32, 1,700 in rent. That's half of that. Then you're gonna have a car note or something like that. You're gonna need transportation.
$3,500, $5,000 a month, you know what I'm saying, at 70% will give you $3,500. Let's just say, you know what I'm saying, you take $1,750 out of that. You take $1,750 out of that in order for rent, right?
Right.
That's going to leave you $1,750. $1,750, you mean to tell me, you know what I'm saying, you can't live on per month. 24%. JL Fletcher said 24%. So, you know what I'm saying, 24% only makes it better. So, you know what I'm saying, what are we essentially talking about? You know what I'm saying?
About the student loan. All right. The student loan.
What are we talking about? Right, but you know what I'm saying, again, we just talked about B, you know what I'm saying, not everybody has those student loans. Not everybody's going to college now to have those student loans. So if you don't have those student loans, you can still afford a $300 car note,
Where
and
we
still
find
be able
$300
to
car note in
live.
2025?
Any goddamn well, B. You can get a Honda Civic. See, here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? You trying to apply your life to regular, ordinary people. You know what I'm saying? You don't need no luxury vehicle in order to get it. B, I can look up right now and tell you, you know what I'm saying, there's a payment on a Honda Civic, you know what I'm saying, that'll get you $200 or $300. You can get a Kia Forte, you know what I'm saying, for $200 or $300 a month. What are we talking about, B?
Do the math.
What you thinking about? You thinking a car payment got to be $8,000, $9,000, $1,000 a month?
Do the
For
math.
a decent car? For a decent car.
How much is the new car nowadays? Even the Kia. All right, brand new Honda Civic.
Look that up.
I think you doing this what you call them math.
It's
so
not.
Brand new Honda Civic.
It's out of touch.
Nah, you out of touch. Look at this.
Hey, look, JR Fletcher even doubled down on that. Average car not is 500. I mean, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
So, hold on.
Like you said, if we're talking about financially responsible people, what do we?
Starting price for a Civic, a sedan is $24,250. That's starting price.
$24,250. $24,250. What does that equate to on a monthly payment, B? What does that equate to on a monthly payment? It got the monthly payment on there. Go ahead.
Give me one second. Don't forget you gotta add your taxes.
Try to finagle the numbers now. You know what I'm saying?
No.
24, you know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Slow down. Hold your horses. Watch this. So even if I don't even really do taxes, that's without taxes, no interest. Without tax, no interest. $24,250. You divide that by 60. That's $400. That's that no interest. So where you getting this $300 at?
B, it's easy $300. Where are you getting this? Where are you getting this? Wait, okay.
If I take $24,250, that's for the base model. That's just the coach.
That's just right. Right. That's absolutely
right.
Honda
Civic. That's $24,250.
That's absolutely right.
You divide that by 60
right.
With no interest. That's $400. So the average condo, that's what I said, $300 is ridiculous. Now I could give you with like Jail said about $500. I could dig that, but that's about right. $500, $600, $700 is the average condo. Not no $300. You thinking 1998 prices?
Oh no, I ain't thinking 1998 prices. I can guarantee that.
All right, so there's $300 condos. Where?
Yeah, there is. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how you put half down?
No.
what are you doing? You put half down?
No, that ain't putting no half down. Here we go. Right here. Let's see.
With a small car? What kind of car is that? Does it have an engine?
A smart car will be smart. You know what I'm saying? You save on gas. That's for certain.
Does it have an engine? No,
That's for certain.
Bike. You talking about a bike? That's what you talking about.
No, it definitely ain't talking about no bike. Definitely ain't talking about no bike. Hold on. Let's see this here. Let's see this here. Hold on.
Have 4 wheels?
Hold on. Because this B Dick's arithmetic that you doing over there, you know what I'm saying?
You trying to Google a car that's less than $24,000 new?
No. I don't have to Google a car that's more that's
you must be buying a 10-year-old car.
Let's see.
Where you get this car at for like less than $20,000?
Let's see here.
A small car gonna cost you about 15.
Let's see here.
And that, you know what I'm saying? So you keep on searching. They ain't got time. I gotta go to sleep, man. You keep on searching for this car that don't exist.
Oh, this car exists. I'll send it to you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem with that.
What kind of car?
I don't have a problem with sending this over to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That is not a problem whatsoever.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I would concede to the $500. But I would say this: your insurance with the insurance on the ride is going to be at least $250 or more, at least. So at the car knows $5, we got $1,750 left. We got the insurance is $250. That's $1,000 left, right? Now let's talk about your utilities.
All right.
Let's talk about your utilities. Now in the apartment, your electric bill gonna be high. Because you ain't got the insulation. So your electric bill gonna be $100-something.
Oh, you reaching.
So electricity in the apartment not gonna be $100. That's what you telling me?
No, it could be $100.
Yeah, it's gonna be $100. It's gonna be $100, $120. You know what I mean? So I give you $100.
All right.
What about your phone bill? Phone bill gonna be $100.
Let's see here.
$150.
No, it doesn't have to be $100. What are we talking
your phone bill not gonna be $100.
No.
What kind of phone bill is that? You ain't got no Wi-Fi on that thing, right?
What you mean, B? Look, I got a phone bill. I got a phone bill right now, unlimited for $45. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you got one of
so stop
phone.
it. That's a track phone. Yeah.
You got one for kids.
Hey, look. Let's see here.
You know, but all right, let's say 100 because you gotta have Wi-Fi in that thing too, right?
Yep.
So let's say 100. So you down to 8, right?
Yep.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. We can go with that. We can go with that number right there.
All right. So let's say gas and water is included. So we're gonna go ahead and skip about that.
All right.
He said the jail said you got a Mint Mobile. For 45 a month, got a 40. I never had a 45.
Hey, look. I don't have Mint Mobile, but when you're on a budget, if a Mint Mobile, you know what I'm saying, or a Cricket, you know what I'm saying. Look, you gotta do what you gotta do. When
he ain't got Wi-Fi on that thing, man.
That's
he ain't got no Wi-Fi on that. He ain't got no apps or nothing. The apps $1 each.
Hey, look, you can put me in the middle of the desert. You know what I'm saying. I still get service. Don't worry about that. I'm good.
Right.
I'm Gucci over here.
All right, so we down to 800, right? You know. We down to $800.
Yep.
So, all right. Let's go ahead and we ain't mentioned the student loans yet. We
already talked about student loan. You ain't necessarily got to add in student loan because we had. Hey, look, but look, B. Let's just say you do have student loans.
All right.
How many people is going to defer that?
I mean,
how many people in deferment?
You only can defer for 9 months.
No, people defer that shit till they damn die. What do you mean?
Nah,
they defer the hell out of damn student loans. They'll never pay their student loans.
I mean,
people talking about, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna die with student loans.
All right. let's take $200 out there for the student loans. That's being conservative.
You know what? Go for it.
That's $600, right?
Go for it.
All right. So that's not saying that you have any other bills.
Okay.
That's not saying that you have any credit card bills they're gonna have. So let's say the gas. Unless you work across the street, you're gonna spend $100 in gas easily. So now we're down to $500. So that's even before you put anything in your belly.
Okay.
That ain't the haircuts. That ain't grooming. And that's just a woman. She got to get that hair done. You know? So you got $500. And that's the entertainment budget too. They're going to want to go out. They're going to do, they're going to want to buy some clothes. So
Come on now.
Am I lying?
Come on now. Yes, you're lying. Yes, you're lying.
so
yes,
young people don't want to go out.
If you can't afford to get your hair done, guess what? I'm finna get my kinfolk over here, you know what I'm saying, to go ahead and do my hair for free.
Come on, man. You know what I'm saying is true.
You mean to tell me, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got women that with hair all over the apartment living room floor because they got friends and family that came in to do their hair? What are we talking about, B?
You gotta talk about too.
You gotta go get your hair done. You gotta go get your nails done, and you can't afford it. You on a budget?
The friends gonna do this for free?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they friends.
Okay, knock it off now. Knock it off.
Because they friends.
Come on, man. Nobody gonna do nothing for free.
Come on, B. Stop it.
Come on,
You know what I'm saying?
Guess
Guess what a man gonna do? Guess what a man gonna do? You know what I'm saying? I'm finna go to the beauty salon, get me these teeth clippers, or order these things on Amazon for $50 or $60, and I'm finna line up myself. What you mean?
So you're gonna be working all these hours. You're gonna nah.
What they gonna do, B? You know what I'm saying? They gonna go get 10 credit cards, run it all up on credit cards.
You know that's what they do.
Is that what they gonna do?
Exactly. So you telling me now see, this is not where you dishonest. You know, a young person that's working a job, they get out of college, they're gonna want to live their life. They're gonna want to look good.
Yeah, they're gonna live their life, but they're gonna live their life on a budget, B. The same way you did and we did in college.
We made
in college, you on a budget. So a lot of them luxury things that you say is a must now, you ain't doing that stuff in college.
In your 20s, you're gonna want to go out. You're gonna want to mingle. You're gonna want to drink. You're gonna want to have a good time. You're gonna unwind. That costs money. That costs money.
What if you're a homebody?
That's
so you mean to tell me everybody's a social bunny and got to go out every single weekend? What are we talking about?
Social creatures.
What?
Most people are social creatures.
Now that's where you're lying.
Okay, gotcha.
That's where you're lying. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no way.
Most people work and go home. Young people
go home. Go home. Especially if they got kids, they work and go home.
And that is
I guarantee goddamn that.
That is the end of the show for this week, man. Now you're going to line, man. Most people. Who is?
That's facts.
That's facts. When I make a wrong turn somewhere on Washington, who's all the people out there? That's young people.
What you mean?
If you turn on Washington on a Friday night,
yep,
and Heights, who are all those people out there? That's homebodies, I guess.
No, those are young people. People that can afford to be out.
Nah,
people that's on mom and dad dime, or they make enough money to actually be out because they're living with mom and dad. They don't have that $1,700. B. What are we talking about? If you ain't got a $1,700 monthly note for an apartment because you live at home with mom and dad, don't you have $1,700 of disposable income?
You know, and I know it's more like what I described earlier because I did it.
No, shit no.
It's gonna be my first apartment. I had a 4th Street mattress. It was hard as a brick, but I had a closet full of kicks and shirts. And when I go out, it'd be one Sprite for the night. You know how I go, but I'm in that thing, and you know how I go. So knock it off.
Apartment, B. Who paid for the apartment?
I paid for the apartment, but again, I'm living in my first apartment was in the 90s. And it was $275. These boys is $1,700. Different ball game. That's my point. And with that, we're gonna see y'all next week. You know, we're gonna see y'all next week, man. You know? But yeah.